I have been dating a girl for around 3 months. We finally hooked up and I thought everything was fine. Now, for context, I consider myself to have an average-sized weenie, perhaps on the smaller side of average. Not entirely sure if it's TMI to post specifics, but I will admit it does look pretty small when soft. Obviously, posting from a throwaway as it's embarrassing. She's always been super opinionated on weenie size, uses terms like small weenie energy, etc., but I never thought anything of it or let it affect me, as I said. I consider myself average, and if you ever pull anyone up on mocking weenie size, it's, haha, you must have a small weenie. So I just never bothered. So anyway, after the hookup, a few days later, we are hanging out with her friends after work for drinks. I can feel a weird atmosphere, like her and the other girls have been talking about me, like sharing a strange smirk with each other when they first saw me, and her friends are cracking indirect small weenie jokes, making me super paranoid. I felt embarrassed, but didn't show it. On the way back to my apartment, I asked if she shared intimate details about me with her friends, and she said no, she would never. I'm not proud, but as I felt she wasn't telling the truth, later that night I went on her phone while she was in the shower and went straight to her girls' group chat on WhatsApp. And man, I tell you, it was the most emasculating thing I have ever been through. Like an hour after hooking up, she was roasting me about my size, telling her girls how small I felt in her hands, how her sex toy at her house was at least 4 times bigger and thicker, that she was disappointed. She even said, Aaron really ruined things for me, which is probably a dude from her past who is super hung. What makes average look small to her? This girl was even saying I had small balls, so now I can't let it go, and it's messed with my self-esteem massively. I asked her to leave when she got out of the shower, and I've been ghosting her for about 4 days now without an explanation because I am so embarrassed to even talk to her. No doubt I will get some mean comments mocking me by dudes, but please have some sensitivity to this topic. Do I confront her about this? Do I forgive her? Have any guys been through this? Have any girls done this? I feel like she really didn't value my privacy, and I wouldn't dare share intimate details about her. There are things I could say about her body, but I'd never do that to another person. Edit. Wow, I'm overwhelmed with these responses. I will try to reply as much as possible. Thank you, especially women who have been so kind, and thanks for people reaching out. I was reluctant to share my size, but since so many have asked, 5.5-inch erect, just over 2 inches when soft. I know the average is around 5 to 6 inch, but hey, I've heard girls say average is still small, so I guess it's small. I wanted to share this response because it might help some girls with a man who is dealing with small weenie insecurity. A woman said it made her feel powerful knowing she can make a small weenie grow. And wow, it just blew my mind. This was my thoughts, and I thought I'd share because if more women were like this, it could eradicate a lot of that pressure men feel. Wow, that's a really interesting perspective. And I can see how that makes you feel powerful. A woman is indeed so powerful when she knows your weenie is little but keeps your little secret to herself. I could totally worship a woman who can openly say I'm small to my face but still desire me. Maybe that's weird, but I'm so shy to show a girl to see me when I'm at my tiniest. But if she can accept it, desire me, even can tease me about the size without it mattering, she's just a goddess to me. But girls can be cruel with it instead. Many men would hate to admit this, but when a woman sees your weenie at its smallest, you're handing over a lot of power and trust to her. I feel very vulnerable because I am small, and a woman has the complete power to crush and destroy your ego, emasculate you, and make you feel so much less of a man, and so many girls know this. Or alternatively, she can unleash your confidence and potentially have amazing intimacy. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot at all. She doesn't deserve you. You never insult the body of someone you care about, even to friends. Let her go. Confront her and forgive her if you want to, but don't go back to her. I had a similar experience with an ex-boyfriend who insulted my body to his friends. I forgave him and the insults continued. Not worth your time. Comment 2, not the idiot. Of course not. What she has done is beyond shitty. Personally, I'd walk away, block her, and have nothing to do with either her or her circle of friends. She isn't worth the effort. And I'm sorry this happened to you, man, but now you know you can move on and find someone worth your time and your affection. Now, for the update. Hey Reddit, it's been 2 weeks since I last posted about the situation with my now ex-girlfriend and her group chat debacle. I wish I could say things have gotten better, but buckle up because this update is a rough ride. After I ghosted her for those 4 days, she showed up at my apartment unannounced. She was crying, saying she missed me and didn't understand why I was avoiding her. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I confronted her about the group chat and how she humiliated me. She tried to play it off as a joke, saying her friends and she always talked like that and I shouldn't take it seriously. But how could I not? I told her we were done, and she left in a huff, saying I was overreacting. But the story doesn't end there. A couple of days later, I ran into one of her friends, Jenna, at the gym. Jenna had always been kind to me, and she looked genuinely sorry when she approached. She confessed that she felt terrible about the jokes and that my ex had been bragging about upgrading to a guy from her past. Yep, you guessed it, Aaron. Jenna also let slip that my ex had been cheating on me with Aaron even before our hookup. I was floored. The betrayal stung more than the embarrassment. I thanked Jenna for her honesty, but I felt like I couldn't trust anyone anymore. Now, here's where karma comes into play. Aaron, the guy my ex was cheating with, turned out to be a coworker's cousin. My coworker, who had heard about my breakup, mentioned in passing how Aaron had recently been dumped after his girlfriend found out he was cheating. The irony wasn't lost on me. But wait, there's more. My ex had been pretty vocal at work about her amazing new man, Aaron, not knowing their connection. When my coworker put 2 and 2 together, word got around the office fast. My ex was suddenly the center of workplace gossip, and not in a good way. Meanwhile, I've been trying to move on. I've been focusing on myself, hitting the gym more, and even started talking to someone new. She's a friend of a friend and has been really understanding about the whole situation. We haven't rushed into anything, but it's been nice to have someone to talk to who doesn't judge. Just when I thought I could close this chapter, my ex had the audacity to text me, saying she made a mistake and missed what we had. I didn't even respond. I've learned my lesson about respecting myself and not settling for someone who doesn't treat me with the same respect. In a strange twist, my ex's life seems to be unraveling. She's been passed over for a promotion at work due to the negative attention, and her friends have started distancing themselves after the whole Aaron situation blew up. It seems like her actions are finally catching up to her. I dumped my boyfriend after his parents told me his dark secret. I set up a camera, and what it caught was horrifying. This is a throwaway account because my boyfriend also has Reddit, but he doesn't follow this thread. Just in case, though. I, 24-year-old female, have been dating my boyfriend, 23-year-old male, for 2 years. We met at an animal shelter when I was looking to adopt my now 3rd dog. Our love for animals is what originally drew us to each other. We talked for several months before we started dating, and I met his parents pretty soon after we decided to make it official. We do not live with each other, but we do visit each other quite often. We have talked about it and agreed to give it more time before we take that step. That time eventually came when we decided we should take that step. I went over to talk to his parents while he was at work to discuss it with them. They seemed pretty happy about it, that we were finally taking that serious step. Everything was going well until I mentioned that I live with a few pets and that they would be coming with me. I have 3 dogs, 2 cats, and a turtle. That's where their faces changed. They asked me if their son knew about them and if I trusted their son to be with them. It was an odd question, but nothing worried me more than the look they gave me after I answered their question. The mom told me that the reason they didn't have any pets was because their son would end up ending the life of them. He would unalive any animal that he came across when he was in his teenage years. The father told me he wouldn't have a reason to do it. He would just do it and then throw them away. I was horrified. I could not wrap my head around it. They continued to tell me about all the pets they used to have. They said that he stopped when he was 17 and that they think he grew out of it. I simply thanked them for letting me know and left. I still love the man, but now I don't know what to feel. I postponed moving in together with the excuse that my lease ends soon and that I wanted to wait till then. He has asked to come over, and I've declined. And the times where I have let him, I have asked a friend to watch over my pets. He has asked about them, stating that he misses them. He has brought food and new toys for them, which makes me feel bad for not wanting him near them. When he does come by to visit and I can't find a babysitter to watch over them, I would keep a close eye on him and I would actively go out of my way to keep my pets away from him. Ever since his parents told me, I lived with the thought that one day he would unalive them. He hasn't shown any signs of wanting to hurt them. He has been great with them, and my cat even sits on his lap when he is over. But now I do not want him anywhere near them. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Are you sure his parents are telling you the truth and not trying to sabotage your relationship? First, at least confirm with him if what his parents said was true. Then you can decide your further actions. If this is true, then block and move away from him. This is a psychopathic behavior. Try to confirm, though. There are various instances when parents, siblings, friends lie or make up stories to break a relationship as they know the other person will not try to confirm. Comment 2. You aren't concerned that he's going to move on from being a pet serial unalived to being a human serial unalived. You need to talk to him about this. Over the phone, away from him. Confirm it. Maybe his parents lied because they don't want him to move out. Not usually the "he's dangerous, leave him now" type on Reddit, but if this is actually true, that's a real red flag lol. If it's true, you should probably stay away from him forever. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a week since I posted about the shocking revelation regarding my boyfriend's past with animals. I've been on an emotional roller coaster, and I've got some updates that are going to blow your minds. First off, let's talk about the confrontation. I couldn't keep this bottled up inside me, so I decided to talk to my boyfriend about what his parents told me. I was shaking when I brought it up, but I needed answers. His reaction was not what I expected. He didn't deny it. Instead, he broke down crying. He told me that it was a dark part of his life that he deeply regretted and had gone to therapy for years to overcome. He said he hadn't hurt an animal since he was a teenager and that he would never do anything to harm my pets. But here's the twist. While we were talking, my cat, who usually loves him, hissed and ran away from him. It was so out of character for her, and it made me question everything all over again. I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe animals sensed something I didn't. After that conversation, things got even more complicated. I started noticing little things that I hadn't before, like how he would always change the subject when I talked about taking one of the dogs to the vet, or how he seemed overly interested in where I kept the cleaning supplies, especially the ones that could be harmful if ingested. Then, 2 days ago, I came home early from work and found him in the backyard with my dogs. He was just standing there, staring at them, and it gave me the creeps. I asked him what he was doing, and he quickly said he was just enjoying the fresh air. But something didn't sit right with me. I decided to set up a hidden camera in the living room where my pets spend most of their time. I know it sounds paranoid, but I had to know if my pets were safe around him. Well, I checked the footage yesterday, and my heart dropped. I saw him on camera, sitting on the couch with my cat on his lap. He was petting her, but then he started to squeeze her tighter and tighter. She managed to escape and ran off, but it was clear that he was trying to hurt her. I was horrified. I confronted him immediately, showing him the footage. He had no excuses this time. He just stood there, silent. I told him it was over and that I never wanted to see him again. He left without a word. I'm still processing everything. I thought I knew him, but I was living with a stranger. I'm grateful that my pets are safe, and I'm taking extra precautions now. I've changed the locks, and I'm looking into getting a restraining order. I'm also planning on reaching out to his parents again. I have so many questions for them. Why didn't they warn me sooner? Did they think he had really changed, or were they just hoping for the best? I'm trying to move on from this nightmare, but it's hard. I keep replaying everything in my head, wondering if there were signs I missed. But I'm also relieved that I found out before anything worse happened to my pets or to me. My boyfriend's brother crosses the line at our home, so I ban him, but Andrew defends him until Kyle's work troubles open his eyes. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 5 years now, and we have been living together for 2 years. He has a little brother who I will call Kyle. He is 20 years old. I will refer to my boyfriend as Andrew. Kyle is a very difficult person in my opinion. When he argues with someone, he can be downright toxic. He is a massive gaslighter. He is passive-aggressive. And when 2 or more people disagree with him or call him out on his behavior, he plays the victim and accuses everyone of bullying him. Kyle only lives a few blocks away from our home and often comes over to visit his big brother, my boyfriend, if you forgot. I am totally fine with that. There have never been any issues, and I get along well with him, most of the time. 2 days ago, my little brother was at our place to eat dinner, and Kyle showed up. So we all ate dinner together. Kyle got into a little argument with Andrew, my BF. It was nothing serious. It was just a disagreement about football. Kyle told him to shut up. My brother then told him that he could never talk to his siblings like that because he would get his butt kicked, jokingly. Kyle immediately got defensive, and an argument ensued. Kyle was like, "Damn, okay, if you think violence is okay, I feel bad for you. Were your parents violent? Do you regularly beat up people?" The reaching he does is immense. Andrew chimed in and told him to calm down, and he went to the bathroom without a word. My brother got a little teary, and I told him to calm down and just ignore Kyle because he is always like this. Then, like a fury, Kyle stormed into the room and asked me what the F my problem is. He got really close to me, and Andrew had to push him back. He accused me of talking behind his back and that I should have waited for him to come back. I told him I just wanted to calm my brother down, and he accused me of being a fake person. He said I am someone that backstabs people. He said I am fake again, and then he said that I would even cheat on my boyfriend. Andrew loudly told him to calm down, and he pulled the victim card again. Why do I even come here when all y'all do is bully me all the time? All 3 of you should be ashamed of yourselves. Then he left. I was very shaken. His behavior reminds me a lot of my hurtful ex-boyfriend. I haven't spoken to Kyle since, and I told Andrew that I don't want him in our home again. I told him I don't feel safe with him because he may not be physically hurtful, but he is verbally hurtful for sure. Andrew didn't get it. He said Kyle is family and that Kyle would never get violent in front of him because he could kick his butt before Kyle can lift a hand. I feel very frustrated, but I don't know if I'm overreacting or not. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Why do I even come here when all of you do is bully me all the time? Tell your boyfriend that you no longer want him in the house. Stick to this. Otherwise, go find another house and break up. Him getting in your face like that is threatening, and you should not let that happen. He is a nutcase, and your boyfriend is an idiot for allowing it. Comment 2. You deserve to feel safe in your own home. Your brother also deserves to feel safe when he visits. That your boyfriend does not have your back in this is a huge red flag to me. He says Kyle won't do anything in front of your boyfriend, but what if he is not there? Not the jerk, NTA. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a chaotic couple of weeks since my last post about my boyfriend's brother Kyle. I've got quite the update for you all, so buckle up. After the dinner incident, things were tense between Andrew and me. I was adamant about not wanting Kyle in our home, but Andrew kept insisting that family is family and we can't just cut Kyle off. It was a tough spot, and I felt like Andrew wasn't taking my feelings seriously. Then, about a week ago, Kyle showed up unannounced. Andrew wasn't home, and I was alone. I didn't want to let him in, but he made a scene outside our door, and I didn't want the neighbors to complain. Reluctantly, I let him in, and that's when things got really heated. Kyle started off with his usual passive-aggressive comments, but this time he crossed a line. He brought up my hurtful ex, something I'd confided in Andrew about but never told Kyle. I was shocked and felt utterly betrayed. How could he know about that? I asked him to leave, but he just smirked and said he knew all about my past and that Andrew had told him everything. I was livid. When Andrew got home, I confronted him. Turns out, Andrew had shared my history with Kyle a while back, thinking it would help Kyle understand why certain behaviors were triggering for me. It was a huge breach of trust, and I couldn't believe Andrew had been so careless with my personal story. Andrew apologized profusely, and he was genuinely remorseful. He hadn't realized the extent of Kyle's toxicity or how he would use that information against me. We had a long, difficult conversation about boundaries and trust. It was a turning point for us, and Andrew finally saw Kyle's behavior for what it was. The next day, Andrew went to talk to Kyle. He laid down the law, telling him that if he ever disrespected me or our home again, he would not be welcome. Kyle, of course, played the victim, but Andrew stood his ground. Now here's where the subtle justice comes in. Kyle, who had always been smug about his job at a local tech startup, had been bragging about a big project he was leading. Well, it turns out that project was a bust. The client pulled out, and Kyle's lack of professionalism was partly to blame. His boss, who had been patient with Kyle's attitude because of his talent, had enough. Kyle was demoted, and his dreams of climbing the corporate ladder anytime soon were dashed. Kyle came over to our place looking for sympathy. But Andrew, remembering our conversation, didn't give in to his pity party. Instead, he told Kyle that maybe this was a wake-up call for him to start treating people better, both at work and in his personal life. Kyle left, not with the usual dramatics, but with a quiet realization that his actions had consequences. It was the first time I'd seen him without a snarky comeback or a victim stance. It was almost like he was finally beginning to understand that he couldn't just bulldoze his way through life. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.